Welcome to another video from EarnPED.com. I am StevieB. Happy to have you all with us today. I am still on the Cronin. I am still skilling some VSE. I've got about 12 tools left to burn. I'm almost to level 50. 10 more levels to go till I get to Scientist. So I'm going to burn up these 12 tools before hitting my planetary rotation. So first of all, big shout out to Michael Stewart. Michael Stewart has already hit level 64 VSE. He did this a couple weeks ago. I did not know about it till recently, which means he's already unlocked Scientist. So Mike is so far ahead of me, it is ridiculous. So huge shout out there, because so few people in game ever actually get to or past level 60 and unlock Scientist. So big shout out to Mike. Before we get started, let me just say that I will be doing that planetary loop once I burn these 12 RKs. I should be done with the RKs sometime late tomorrow. I had a rare night off work tonight, so I'm able to get a lot of skilling done, make a couple videos for you guys, and hopefully burn through these so that sometime late tomorrow before going back to work, I can bounce off ship and start making my planetary circle. I'm going to be going to Next Island, shooting some videos there, wrap up a few things there. I'm going to be going to Tulum, shooting a few things there, and getting videos made for you guys, because there's a ton of content that I need to cover on Tulum for y'all. And then I will be circling back to Cali. I'll be doing a few videos there, and then I will be coming back to the Cronin after I restock on my RKs, as I've got like 400 plus sitting in storage I need to burn up, which should get me to level 60 and hopefully past. So that being said, I wanted to start off with that, and then I wanted to tell you guys that I will be making a video in the next couple of days. I don't know when I'm going to release it yet, but I've got all the details worked out for my new StevieB's Fight Club event. Since Mindark decided to pull the rug out from under us with Summer Mayhem, and then by taking boxes out of the loot pool for migration, and then on top of everything else just making the mini Mayhem event, they had an absolutely atrocious event. I told you guys in a video about a week and a half ago I was going to start StevieB's Fight Club, where I'm going to be doing events that will be proper events that will be fun and also potentially profitable. Notice I said potentially profitable. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think I've got a winning combination. I think a lot of people are going to like it. It will not be for everybody. It just won't be one of those things that absolutely everybody thinks that it's the greatest thing since sliced pie. But I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun with it. So it will also help me reach some of my in-game goals that would be very hard to reach on my own, and that's always a good thing. So can't really knock it there. So just be looking for an announcement to come in the coming days, sometime in the next week or two, about StevieB's Fight Club. You'll want to check that out for sure. So today I'm going to do something that I don't normally get to do. I'm going to talk to you guys about some of my competitors, and I'm going to get to point out some of the good, the bad, and the ugly of all of our services. And I'm also going to get to give you guys a rare insight into some of my philosophies and my thought processes when it comes to real life business. So you guys will get to see some things that you normally would not get to see from me just playing Entropia, interacting with the game mechanics. So first of all, let's back up and let's take a look at the history of how EarnPED.com even came to be. So when I very first started playing Entropia, I was free to play for 6 months. I did nothing but skilled defense at Zykion. I mean nothing. That is literally all I did. I never dropped a mining probe. I never shot a gun for a single puny. I literally just skilled defense at Zykion. I do think that might be a little bit of an exaggeration. I went through some of the beginning missions at Icarus where you get some of the free stuff, but it was mainly skilling defense at Zykion. And while I was doing that, I was using the OG of websites that allows you to earn PED, Entropia Partners. And it's a great website. There's nothing wrong with it. But the problem that I had is when I was ready to finally withdraw, it took me over 3 months to get my withdrawal. Now, I'm not talking about the 60-day blackout period. That's done by the sponsors. That the website owner has no control over that. I'm talking about after that period had passed, it took me an additional like 90 days to actually get my hands on the money. And the reason being is they were just never online, or there was never somebody on the same planet I was on, or we were just in 2 completely different time zones and 2 completely different planets. And that just seemed exceedingly excessive to me. It's like the people that use the website just really didn't matter at all. And then the bigger problem was the website allowed you to earn money, but there was nothing that went with it to potentially help you learn how to spend the money more wisely. There was no, hey, don't go blow your entire wad. People would get handed their money, and this happened to friends of mine several times. They'd earn money on the website, get the payout, and then they were broke in 2 seconds. So I was like, I want to do two things. I want to build a website where my friends, because a lot of my friends had no choice but to use a website like that. That was the only way they could play Entropia. It was the only way they could get money in game. I wanted to make a website where people could A, earn money and make sure that they were going to get paid in a timely manner that had some amount of customer service to it. But B, I also wanted to be able to put good information out there that would help people play smarter, not harder. And by combining EarnPED.com with the YouTube channel, I was essentially able to accomplish those two goals. The goal was never make as much money off the backs of people that play Entropia as humanly possible. That was never the goal. And that is kind of how EarnPED.com got started. Now, when I very first started EarnPED, again, this was supposed to be a fun thing with me and my friends. One of the things that I did was I was holding a lot of in-game events. I was doing this on somebody else's land area, and we were going with mobs that normally you would not get to sweat or hunt. And every single Sunday, we would go to this land area. We would have a sweat circle. There would be lots of item giveaways. We had a taxi to the sweat circle, several taxis actually. We had healers for hire that would run around healing people. We were giving stuff away. And then at the end of it, we would actually have a group hunt. So the land area owner was getting free exposure, and he was generating revenue when we would do the hunt. And the taxi drivers were getting paid, and the healers were getting paid, and there were marketers that were getting paid, and I was spending 2,000 to 3,000 PED every single Sunday just to put on this event. And you know what I was getting out of it? Nothing but exposure for EarnPED.com. That was it. That was literally the whole sum of what I was getting. And then I had PEDFlow pop up. And PEDFlow popped up, and they decided to do this radio thing where you would listen to the radio, and every like 30 minutes it would credit your account like 1 peck. And people would go over there and they would just put it on mute and just rack up peck. And I said from the beginning, this makes no sense. It's not generating any revenue. It's just going to bleed them to death, because there has to be some kind of revenue in order to generate the money that's being paid out to you guys, right? And there's just nobody willing to pay for you to listen to radio because everybody inevitably puts it on mute. To be honest, all these sites that let you do microtasks, they all come from like 1 or 2 networks, because there's just not very many advertisers willing to pay for these kind of microtasks. They know it's very low quality advertising. And in advertising, ideally what you want is high quality, high conversion. These microtask websites, they're low quality, low conversion. So the only advertising money that they can really get is pennies on the dollar, and they're simply counting on getting hundreds of millions of eyeballs. So when they do an app download, they're not counting on your app download being profitable. They're counting on if they can get 100 million app downloads somewhere in there, it's going to be profitable somehow. When they're paying you a couple of peck to watch 3 videos and then an ad, they're not counting on that ad is going to influence your buying decisions today. They're counting on if they can get 150 million people every single day to see that by doing microtasks. If there's 150 million people out there doing it, somebody is going to buy. So it's just really one of those things that because they know it's a low quality, low conversion landscape, there's just not a lot of ad money in it. So pretty much all your microtask websites work off the same offers, the same offer walls, the same advertisers, the same sponsors. That's why most of them all have the same rules about 60-day blackout periods and stuff like that. So that being said, I knew that there was essentially no way to have this radio thing be backed by a revenue stream. It had to all be coming out of pocket. And I was finally proven right a few weeks ago. A very close friend of mine sent me an email. He said, hey, here's a clip. A certain website owner, not going to say who, was in the clip, and he said they're ranting and raving about how they offered a radio that would credit people's account peck every half hour or whatever, and it was just bleeding them dry, and people are mooches. I don't know exactly what was said in the clip. I haven't not yet watched it, because I don't want to be tempted to necessarily post it. I'm still trying to find out personally, ethically, myself, internally, would it be a good thing to watch the clip and then make it public, or would it be unethical or immoral to watch the clip, find out the content, and then make that public? Or even just keep it private? And I really don't know. I've kind of been debating that one back and forth, because the clip itself was public. So I'm kind of torn on that, but that's why I haven't really watched it, so I don't know exactly what's in it. But I know the gist of it is, I was right. There was no revenue being generated. It was all coming out of pocket, and apparently they're very upset that they had to spend that much money for something that didn't work for them. Called it almost 3 full years in advance. Called it. Again, I'm not usually wrong. I might be wrong, but when they win the Nobel Prize in 2042, I'll be proven right. So that being said, I can't even remember the last time somebody mentioned PEDFlow to me. Well, now I have a new competitor, and I want to give them straight A's all across the board for a job well done. And then I'm going to explain why there is no way you would ever catch me dead doing what they are doing. So, it's called EntropiaCrate.com. EntropiaCrate.com. Go check it out. It's an Entropia player. They also have a Twitch stream you can check out. So, same basic task, micro task, hideout points, PED, right? Now, I give them an A+ in figuring out how to use this system to make as much money for themselves as humanly possible. An A+ in gimmick, an A+ in marketing, an A+ in design. I give them A's all across the board. However, you would never catch me dead doing what they're doing, for some very, very important reasons. And I say that because, again, it's not that I think they did a bad job. It's not that I think they're doing a bad thing. We have two very different philosophies when it comes to what we're doing, with two very different goals in mind when it comes to what we're doing. I know EarnPED is never going to make me a ton of money, because I have the payout set to something ridiculous like 70% plus a potential 10% bonus if you save up to 1,000 PED. What's that leave? On my best day, that leaves a 20% margin. So by the time you factor in hosting costs and domain renewals, that 20% margin is almost gone. It leaves a few bucks left over for miscellaneous expenses, and a few bucks left over to kind of compensate for my time on making the videos on this end of it, to kind of add to whatever I get from YouTube, which isn't a ton, right? So the thing is, it was never designed to be anything other than what it is. It was never designed to be something that would make, a buku amount of money. And honestly, I don't want it to, which we'll get to that in a minute. But I've never asked myself the question, how could I keep more of the money that people are earning through EarnPED? How could I lower my payouts? I've never asked myself that question a day in my life. However, this website does a very good job of answering that question. So first of all, to deal with me and the fact that my payout is so high, there is an opportunity through EntropiaCrate.com. I believe if you would like to redeem your hideout points for 100% of what they're worth, meaning that the website owner gets nothing and you support nobody but yourself. I believe through EntropiaCrate you can do that, but you have to redeem it via Amazon gift card. So you don't actually get PED in Entropia, you would just get an Amazon gift card. So if that's your thing, by all means, go do it. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not even going to tell you not to. If there's a purchase that you need to make on Amazon that is more important to you than Entropia, you need to go do that. Seriously. If there is a way that an Amazon gift card changes your life drastically where Entropia would not, that's the better option. Hands down. Now, I have debated opening EarnPED.com to more games like EVE Online, Second Life, stuff like that. I have never debated paying out in anything but PED. Never have, never would. That is just not going to happen for legal, tax, regulatory, many, many other reasons. However, if that Amazon gift card changes your life, like I said, take it, because real life is always going to come before a video game. Now, that said, if you look past the Amazon gift card, what you will see is essentially my payout is set to 70% plus a 10% potential bonus. Entropia Partners payout, I believe, is set to 50% plus a potential bonus. And it looks like EntropiaCrate, I could be wrong, it looks like it's set to 35%. Now, why so low? Well, because the people at EntropiaCrate understand something about the general public that the general public does not understand about themselves, and that's that they do not understand compounding, nor do they understand loss rebates. And they have hit it on the head here, in addition to in so many other aspects of what they've done. It's not just the marketing, it's not just the design, it's not just how they're doing it, it's the fact that they understand the psychology so well. Their thing is they will give you like 5 free loot crates a day to open. They might have nothing in them, or they might have up to 2 PEC. Cool, huh? But remember, you're redeeming your points at 35 cents on the dollar versus a potential 80 cents on the dollar, or 50 cents to 60 cents on the dollar somewhere else, right? So let's say that you have, let's say it was a 50-50 split, not 35, let's say it was 50-50. So let's say that you have 1,000 PED, and you've got 2 options. You can have 1,000 PED in hand, or you can have 500 PED in hand, and you can get 5 boxes a day, and the boxes may have 0 PEC, 1 PEC, or 2 PEC. Which are you going to take? Well, in game theory, this would be a fairly straightforward, fairly easy game to analyze. You're going to take the 1,000 PED in hand. Reason being is compounding. However, knowing that most people don't understand game theory, knowing the psychology of most people, they understand that a lot of people are going to choose to take that lower payout, but to get the boxes. So if it was a 50-50 payout, and it's not, it's 35 cents on the dollar, but if it was 50-50, you would have to open 5 boxes a day. Every single one of those boxes would have to have the 2 PEC award in it. And if that was true, if both those conditions were true, if you could maintain that for over 3 years, at just over 3 years, you would be back to your original 1,000 PED. Yep. Now do you see why this is a very easy game to analyze? You'd be better off with the 1,000 PED in hand, obviously. Why? A, utility. You can use the full 1,000 PED today versus a potential 10 PEC a day over 3 years you cannot utilize from a utility standpoint. But B, compounding. This is what you guys hear me refer to as the snowball effect. $1 invested today is worth more than $1 invested 3 years from now, or 4 years from now, or tomorrow even. So example, if we go to the PEDFlow Center, or I'm sorry, Entropia Exchange, and we look at Crystal Palace, we see that as of right now I have 1,528 shares. You'll notice these shares have recently generated a total income for me of 565.36 PED. Now I can take that 565.36 PED and I can use it to go buy ammo or another gun or another amp or something like that. Or I can just hit buy. I could buy up some shares at 1744, 1746 each. My share number would grow, and then that is going to make my snowball a little bit bigger. What's going to happen? Next week I would have a little bit more income. I could repeat this process, add a few more shares. The week after that, repeat this process, add a few more shares. So if I took 1,000 PED today, and I started a snowball, I had 0 shares, but I took 1,000 PED and I bought shares. And then every single week I took those shares and I reinvested that share income into making my snowball bigger and bigger. How big is that snowball going to be after 3 years? It's going to be pretty big, right? So how would you ever catch up if you went with the alternative? If it takes you 3 years to get back to break even at a 50-50 game, how would you ever catch up with that kind of compounding? You couldn't. It would be impossible. You'd be too far behind the curve. But most people do not understand this concept, and they actually feel like they're winning by getting paid 35 cents on the dollar because they get to open 5 boxes a day, not realizing that all 5 boxes would have to have a 100% success rate for a 3-year period in order to get them back to even. So they're losing every day for 3 years while feeling like they're winning. It's kind of like when you go to a casino and you're playing a slot machine. You know it costs $1 a spin, but yet you spin it and it lights up and it gives you all the noises and the dopamine rush and yay, you're a winner, and you see the thing tick across the screen. You won 60 cents. No, it cost you $1 that spin. You didn't win anything. You lost 40 cents. You did not win 60, you lost 40. But because of the way they're presenting it, you feel like a winner. So you're getting that dopamine hit, and that's why people have gambling addictions. So, in that respect, okay, fairly straightforward. But the real kicker, and this is where I think it's just genius what they've done, in a way. It's kind of like bad genius, but we'll get to that in a minute. They have a mini game. It's essentially a knockoff version of Entropia. And it's a free-to-play minigame on their website where you have a character and you can go out and you can shoot creatures. You have action points. And you can shoot until your action points are gone. And your action points will refill every hour to some extent for free, no charge. And you shoot. And if you're lucky, after several hundred creatures, you're going to get a message that says, you just looted a creature for 0.02 peck, 0.04 peck, whatever. Now, here's the cool part. It's literally like a mini Entropia. So, in doing this, you can take your PED that you've earned through doing their offers or you've redeemed through their points. You can upgrade your character, you can get in-game items, and trade them with other players for PED, right? And as your character levels up, then you'll be able to hunt stronger and stronger creatures, which chance at more and more payouts more frequently, but also with much, much higher multipliers. Now, here's the problem. It's not Entropia. It's their version of a free-to-play game like Entropia on their website. Now, from their aspect, this is brilliant, because not only are they paying you 35 cents on the dollar, but then on top of that, you're not even withdrawing the money, you're dumping the money back into character development and a game that looks like Entropia, but is absolutely not Entropia. So they're having to pay you out a grand total of pretty much zero. So they have literally found a way to take all of the money from the offers and the offer walls and hideout and get people to essentially throw it away in a game that looks like Entropia and smells like Entropia, but is not Entropia. It's absolutely brilliant. I think it's absolutely genius. And if the goal is to find a way to keep as much of that offer money as humanly possible, they've nailed it on the head. I've got to give them credit there. It is brilliant in that respect. And I think there is a group of people in Entropia that will actually benefit from that, because how many people do we have sign up that end up sweating for 2 weeks and then quit the game and never come back ever again? They probably will still quit Entropia and never come back ever again. But if they play that minigame, there's a chance that maybe, just maybe, at some point they say, you know what, I'm going to give this another shot, but this time I actually want to play Entropia. I'm actually going to deposit money. Now, I know it's a snowball's chance. I know it's kind of a pipe dream, but at least now it's a potential possibility, whereas it wasn't before. So that being said, sorry, I was reading an in-game message. That being said, where are the reasons that I would never, ever, ever in a million years do these things? And again, I give these guys at EntropiaCrate straight A's across the board because they've done so many things so well and in such a genius manner. I can't not. So let's look at the reasons why I think it's also a horrible idea. And I'm not talking about the payout rate. That's on y'all. If y'all want to support me, you're going to support me. If you want to support Tia, you're going to support Tia. If you want to play a mini game and support EntropiaCrate, you're going to support EntropiaCrate. People are going to support who they want to support. So the payout rate really does not matter to me. The reason I would never implement some of these strategies is very simple. They have created a mini game that more or less acts just like Entropia. And they call the in-game currency PED. And their whole shtick is they're allowing you to earn PED, actual Project Entropia dollars, that you can then withdraw into Entropia. But instead of getting you to withdraw them into Entropia, they're using them in their little mini game, which is not authorized by MindArc. So it's the most straightforward slam dunk case of copyright infringement I've ever seen in my entire life. If I was to take a mouse, with big ears and put pants on him and start making cartoons for kids, it would not be as obvious of a copyright infringement case. When I say you're earning PED, that's because when you complete the offers and you're like, hey, I would like to get paid for what I did, we meet up in Entropia and I give you PED because that is what I have to pay you with in-game. When I take my website and make a mini game that functions in the exact same way with the exact same goals, hunting creatures to get loot out of them, that loot being tradable in a quote-unquote economy manner between players, and being able to upgrade the character to hopefully higher level creatures with a chance at a good multiplier, all I've done is just totally infringe on Mindark's copyright. I've literally just duplicated Entropia and made mini Entropia. And then to say that it's PED on top of that is just another copyright infringement on top of another copyright infringement. So would I ever in a million years create a minigame like that with a system like that to allow you to earn PED from offers and then try and get you to dump it back to me in a minigame? No. Why? Well, let's look. How many players does this game have? 10 to 15,000 daily active players. How much money are they foreseeably going to make me if I had every single player doing offers every single day, and then I didn't have to make any payouts because it was all being done back to me? So there's a very specific number that I can guess at to what that would be. And it's not a huge number. Okay, it's just not. So taking the amount of income that is able to be generated from that plan, and then knowing the cost of defending a lawsuit when it comes to copyright infringement, not to mention copyright infringement from a big company like Mindark located in a completely different country, you're talking about making a few pennies, but it would cost you $1 million to defend. I highly doubt that my competitor has $1 million to throw down the drain on a copyright infringement case, but they are begging for Mindark to sue them. I don't get it. I don't get why anybody would think that's a good idea. And the thing about it is, like I said, these guys, they're aces. I give them aces across the board. I love everything about what they're doing. They're doing something new. They're doing something exciting. It targets a very specific group of players who might otherwise quit Entropia entirely. However, at the same time, they're opening themselves up to so much liability. I just guess they're counting on Mindark not really caring. I don't know. It just seems like a bad idea to me. The other thing is, they would also lose the case. Not only would it cost $1 million to defend, they would hands down lose it. And the problem is, depending on what jurisdiction you're in, there could be lawyers and judges out there that very easily go, okay, well, under copyright law, we are entitled to all the money that was made, all the revenue that was generated while the copyright infringement was going on. Which means that every dollar they ever made off any of those offers since the inception of the minigame on the website would also be part of the judgment toward Mindark. So not only would you have to come up with a hellacious amount of money in order to defend the lawsuit, you're then going to lose the lawsuit and all the revenue, not just profit, revenue. There's a difference. Profit is what's left over after expenses. Revenue is total amount generated. The revenue would be part of the default. That's the kind of thing that can bury you for life. I mean, you see these things on like American Greed where it's like, yeah, Jordan Belfort, after doing the Wolf of Wall Street thing, still owes, $419 million. Well, like that's ever going to get paid back. Like he's ever going to dig himself out of that hole. Jordan Belfort is about the one exception that I've ever seen to somebody being that buried, and that he is so good at money laundering, they'll never be able to touch his money. So he is essentially, between that and the way he worked around the legal system and his exact probationary and parole status and the way the order was written, he's essentially wiggled out of having to pay any of that money back. And his money has been laundered in such a way that Jordan Belfort's money essentially can't be touched. But everybody else that you see, that it's like, yeah, they're like $5 billion in debt to their victims, and they owe like $900 million in restitution. They're never going to get out of that. So even bankruptcy can't get you out of some of that. So for that reason alone, Will you ever see me implement that kind of a minigame? No. Will you ever see me use that kind of a tactic to get people to dump the money they've made from offers back to me? No. When I say you're earning PED, you're earning PED. You're not earning dollars. You're not earning Spanish reals. You're not earning pound sterling. You are earning PED. PED and only PED. That is it. That's all you're earning. And that is why you only get paid in-game. That is why there is no other payment option on the website. Is because of that exact problem right there. So that being said, let's move on past that. There are certain risks that MindArk takes. Forget my competitor. MindArk takes that I would never take. And I think MindArk highly underestimates some of the risk factors of what it deals with. I talked to somebody about this a little bit earlier today. I think that they should not sell Strongbox keys in the web shop at all. I think MindArk should only take deposits in PED and either allow you to buy PED packs or allow you to wire money directly to them for PED. Now, the starter packs and the refill packs and stuff like that, that's fine. But I don't think they should sell Strongbox keys at all. And there's been several jurisdictions where they've been told they cannot sell Strongbox keys. I think they had a brilliant idea when MindArk put out the blueprint that allowed you to craft Strongbox keys. But I think they shouldn't have made it a limited blueprint. I think they should have made it an unlimited blueprint that was available in the Technician, where you could increase the quality rating. I think it would have been brilliant for the players and for MindArk. I think it would have solved a lot of their legal problems when it comes to keys, but MindArk apparently feels differently, and they want to err on the side of caution. MindArk thinks because it's in Sweden, they are safe. When you see a piece of paper that says United States of America versus you, remember that the United States of America has a Navy, an Air Force, an Army, a Marines. They've got nuclear weapons. They've got one of the largest land masses in the world, 350 million plus people. They've got a great revenue system where they can just tax the bajank out of everybody that lives in that giant land area. And if they really need more money, they just turn on the printing presses and print off one of the most valuable currencies on the planet, if not the most valuable currency on the planet. What do you have? $1.95 in your pocket and a truck. Maybe a dog. Not a fight you want to have, right? And this is where MindArk would be bad enough. I can't even imagine it happening to me or one of my competitors. There was a day where you could wake up and get a cup of morning coffee and have your sips. Sit down at your computer. Bodog Casino. I want to play blackjack. I want to play some sports bets. I want to play some slot machines. Spend some money. But then you went to bed that night and you woke up the next morning. You got your coffee. You did your sips. Bodog Casino. This website has been seized by the United States Department of Homeland Security, IRS, Treasury, DEA, alphabet soup of every agency known to man. Oh. Okay, well, guess that's over. Guess what? Bodog wasn't located in the United States. All their servers were offshore. There was a day where you could get on Backpage. Backpage.com. Let's see. Who's available? Who's local? Who's cute? Guess what? They were considered a human trafficking operation. Next day, Backpage.com. This website and domain seized by Homeland Security, IRS, DEA, Treasury. Yep. In fact, I think those static homepages might still be up. And I think this is one area MindArk itself has failed to understand. If the United States government wants you, the United States government gets you. How much more so if you own a website where the service, the actual server, is based in the United States? So what if instead of coming for MindArk and saying we want to come after you for this box opening thing, what if they were to come after EntropiaCrate? What if they were to consider EntropiaCrate's minigame a real cash economy? What if they were to come after it that way? If you read MindArk's terms of use, a terms of use is a cohesion contract because it's not negotiable. You either accept it or you decline it. There's no negotiating it. So it's considered a cohesion contract. You're forced into certain terms, which is why in things like a credit card agreement or a terms of use, you get to court. A lot of times the judge will throw out part of it and not throw out another part, right? If you look at MindArc's terms of use, it says that all in-game items belong to MindArc. Everything, every piece of armor, every weapon, every ped, all of it belongs to MindArc. And the reason they do that is because if they didn't, then every time something's sold on auction, it would be a quote-unquote taxable event. Every time you sold a gun, every time there's a player-to-player trade, it would be a quote-unquote taxable event. Can you imagine any government in the world getting their hands into MindArc and into every player account and considering every single thing that happens in game a taxable event? That would be an absolute nightmare. Also, it means that if you own something in-game and something happens, like an uncollateralized trade that goes south, there's legal issues there, versus if MindArc just owns everything, they don't get into the middle player trades, but technically, because they quote-unquote own it all, you could do an uncollateralized trade. The person that borrowed something could sell it off, that person could sell it off, that person could sell it off. MindArc could just reach in, take the item, give it back to the original owner, and that's the end of it. Nobody has to get any PED back. And they can go, we own it all. We can do whatever we want. No harm, no foul. It's not real money. It's PED. It's Project Entropia dollars. We own it all. It's not real currency. It's not a cryptocurrency. It's a virtual currency. It's an in-game currency. We own it, not you. Look at our terms of use. Here's the problem with that. If they were to actually get in front of a judge is going to go, well, for 20 years you've held yourself out as a real cash economy. For 20 years you've held yourself out as the place where players can make or lose real money. You keep putting out all these press releases years ago about most expensive virtual item ever sold. So you mean to tell me somebody named Buzz Lightyear paid you $300,000 US for a virtual space station knowing he wasn't going to own it? Because from everything that we see, from all the publications, all the press releases, it says that he bought it. It doesn't say he gave you 300 grand. It says that he bought it. So a judge would very quickly take the part where MindArc says we own everything, and they would throw that out the window in about 2 seconds. That's not even a question. It would take a motion, but it would get done. And it would get done probably day one of any lawsuit. So that being said, where does this stand when it comes to a place like EntropiaCrate that makes their own minigame? Do they own all the characters in the minigame, all the items in the minigame? Because those are being traded player to player from people who are both playing the minigame. What happens if there's a dispute that arises between a trade? You see where I'm going with this? Like, is it a taxable event when each of those trades happens, or is it not? Do they own it, or do the users of their website own it? The people actually playing the game. There's a lot of terms of use that comes in to video game ownership that wouldn't come into terms of use for website ownership. And there's even more so when it comes to like real cash economy mechanics. And I don't know what precautions they've taken there, if any, but I don't want to be the test case for anybody trying to test the limits of any of that stuff being implicated around a video game or a real cash economy. I just, again, the cost of dealing with that would be absolutely astronomical. The other thing is, I've got so much on my plate already that one of my biggest things has always been not how can I make the most money? How can I avoid the most liability? Somebody told me years ago when I was very, very young, anybody can make $1. Protecting it is the hard part. So the very first thing I look at is I'm always looking for where is the liability, where is the regulations, where are all the things that could go wrong. And there's so many things that could go wrong with a setup like that that is just the most basic reason I would never do it. That's why you will never see me implement some of those things. I don't want to be the guy that I am the poster child for the case on why you shouldn't have boxes that are open on your website because it caused me regulatory issues. I don't want to be that guy. So what I do is I look around and I say, well, we've got this big open area and there's some train tracks. And in the middle of the train tracks, there's a pot of gold. And around the train tracks, there's little bits of gold here and there. Now, there's not a train in sight, but to go pick it up off the train track, I have to stand in the middle of the train track. Guess what? I'm not going to be the guy standing in the middle of the train track. I'm always going to, every single time, choose to pick it up around the train track. Because even though I can't see a train in the distance, So there's probably not a train that's going to hit me. The thing about it is I know I'm not going to get hit if I'm not on the train track. So that being said, I think you guys can see there really truly is, like I said, a lot of great things about EntropiaCrate. I think they've done a lot of cool things, a lot of great things that I'm hoping will really help the game, because I really do think there's a large number of people that sweat that never get to hunting, never get to mining, never get to crafting, never really get to experience Entropia. They will at least get to experience something Entropia-like through this minigame setup. I think it's great for the website owners because they found a way to get to keep the vast majority, if not almost all, of the money from the offers and the hideout points. And if people are getting more utility from opening crates and doing mini games in a game that's not Entropia than they get from actually taking money and putting it into Entropia and playing Entropia, then that's great. That's what they need to do. It goes back to my premise with the Amazon gift card. If the Amazon gift card changes your real life significantly, then that is by far what you should do compared to putting that money into Entropia. If playing a mini game and not getting to play Entropia is by leaps and bounds more enjoyable than taking PED and putting it into Entropia and playing it there, that is by all means what you should do, because you're going to get far more utility out of it that way. And I think there is a chance that while we will still lose the majority of those free-to-play people who don't depot over the medium term, I think there's a chance that that minigame may actually be the thing that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the road causes some of those people to go, you know, I tried to play Entropia several years back, and I wasn't willing to depot, but I used this website back in the day, and I played a mini game that was very, very similar to Entropia, and it was a lot of fun. Now I'm in a better financial position, a different stage of my life. I think I want to give Entropia another shot, and this time I'm going to depot. Well, you know what? That wasn't even a possibility before EntropiaCrate, but now it is. So maybe that'll happen too. So that being said, I don't want anybody to think I'm taking away from EntropiaCrate in any way, but I keep getting messages, hey, are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? Are you going to put boxes on EarnPED? Are you going to create mini games on EarnPED? Are you going to let people withdraw in other methods other than PED? No. For all the various legal and regulatory reasons that I have just mentioned, not to mention the copyright issues, absolutely not. That doesn't mean there's not things I'm going to do on EarnPED that I haven't done before. It doesn't mean there's not new things I'm going to implement. And it doesn't mean if I don't hear a good idea, I'm not willing to run with it and possibly add it to the repertoire. But EntropiaCrate is very unique in what they're doing. I did not make EarnPED to be something that makes me a small fortune. I did not even make it to be something that gives me the majority of the money that is generated from the offers. So I have never asked myself, how can I keep even more of this money? That's never been what it was about. So if I find a good idea, if I find something that adds to it, will I do it? Sure, under certain circumstances. But again, that's never been my goal, and I'm always going to be risk averse. I'm always going to be trying to make sure that I'm doing things with little to no liability, if at all humanly possible. So be sure and check out EntropiaCrate if that's your thing. If any of that sounds up your alley, by all means check it out. I think they're aces across the board. They've done a great job in a lot of respects. They've just taken a lot of risks and done a lot of things that I would not do because I'm risk averse. So I really think that they're aces. I hope they're around for a long time because I think there's a very, very unique niche that they can fill, especially among the sweaters and the people who may otherwise quit within a few weeks. So I really hope to see them stay around for a long time. And given the way the entire system is set up, that shouldn't be an issue. They're going to have a lot easier time doing that than I am at an 80% payout rate. That's for absolutely sure. So I wish them all the best, and I want you guys to know not only to check it out, but the good, bad, the ugly, and why I would never do something. But I think it's kudos that they're doing something I just would never be comfortable doing. And sometimes that's how you make better mousetraps. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you can make a better mousetrap, make a better mousetrap, whether it's YouTube videos, a website that helps people earn, whatever, even something in-game. If you can make a better event, make a better event. Anything you can do to better the community, obviously going to be a good thing. We all have different risk profiles, and now you guys kind of know mine. So guys, I'm going to leave it there for today. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. There's always a hater hitting the dislike button. If there's a topic you guys want me to cover, shoot me a private message in game. I can't get to them all, but I will try to get to most. And obviously, if you're going to check out EntropiaCrate. Also check out EarnPED.com, because when you earn, we earn. That's by far the best way you guys can help support us. And we know you guys choose to support us. You can use PEDFlow. You can use Entropia Partners. You can use EntropiaCrate. We all offer something a little bit different for a little bit different reason. And we know you guys choose to support us, and we really, really appreciate that. And we do have some things coming to the site probably in the next couple of months, and we'll let you know as we roll those out. So guys, for now, I'm going to leave it there. Sip, sip, smack, smack. Y'all know the rest. And we'll be back with more content for you later this week. Take care, Stevies.